Donald Trump. America is not Canada. And Canada never, ever will be part of America in any way, shape, or form. In America, healthcare is a big business. In Canada, it is a right. If they succeeded, they would destroy our way of life. My government will put into action our plan to build a stronger economy, to create new trading relationships with reliable trading partners, and to secure our borders. And Donald Trump, as we know, has put, as the Prime Minister just said, unjustified tariffs on what we build, on what we sell, on how we make a living. He's attacking Canadian families, workers, and businesses, and we cannot let him succeed. The Canadian government has rightly retaliated and is rightly retaliating with our own tariffs that will have maximum impact in the United States and minimum impact here in Canada.
From one old guy to another old guy. Stop this nonsense. I can tell you that my parents were not millionaires from New York. They were workers from Shawinigan. But my mother taught us good manners. She would have been ashamed of me if I had treated anyone the way that the President treated my Prime Minister and the President in Ukraine in the last few weeks.
Fourth season continues, and this time Canada is fighting back. Things are getting crazy. Justin Trudeau, former Canadian leaders, and everyday Canadians are speaking out against Trump's reckless trade policies and fair tariffs. And now get this, his reported desire to redraw borders and claim Canadian land. This is beyond just economic warfare. This is about sovereignty. And Canadians, they're not having it. Imagine your neighbor just waking up one day and deciding your backyard should be his because he doesn't like the fence agreement from 100 years ago. That's the level of absurdity we are dealing with here. But what's even weirder is that this could turn into something much bigger. Canada is a NATO ally, and if Trump escalates this nonsense, he wouldn't just be messing up with Canada, he would be dragging the US into a whole international mess. And let's be real, the only people celebrating this kind of chaos are America's enemies. So let's get into this. I've put together a video of Canadians reacting to Trump's madness. Let's hear what they are saying, and then I'll be back and break it down for you. Stick around.
Have I seen an uglier person have a bigger ego than you? You're gonna start a trade war with your best friends and allies and remove sanctions from a dictator. But you're a dictator too now, right? Because you're banning protesting. And what is that when the people cannot stand up against what the government has said or what they have done? That is a dictatorship. And I hope you guys know that Canadians don't want this. We are a peaceful people, but we don't back down from a fight. And we are going to be loud with our wallets. We're going to be loud online and call out these lies. And we are going to be loud with our leaders and tell them that we have their back and we do not want to stand down from this fight. Because there's one thing I'll tell you about Canadians, and that is that we are a spiteful people. And we would rather be broke than give in to a dictator. And I hope you fight America. Because the moment that they ban protesting, that is a surefire sign that you should grab that fucking sign and get out there.
The United States, under Donald Trump, is going after the sovereignty of Canada.
The American people? No. But this particular administration, in effect, that is what they have said. And they've said it over and over and over again, the president and other members of the administration, and Canada has to treat that seriously. It is not a joke. And we are going to fight back and stand our ground because Canada is not for sale. We are good neighbors and friends, and we have been for 150 years with the United States. But we do not want to be American.
It's lay off the ridiculous rhetoric about Canada being the 51st state. As an American, I'm ashamed, right, of the arrogance and disregard that we've shown one of our historically oldest, strongest, and most loyal allies. These international tournaments for Canada mean something different now. As an American, I'd like to address the 51st state discourse, which I find unsettling and frankly insulting. Canada is a strong, independent nation that's deep-rooted in decency, really. And it's a place that values high ethics and respect, unlike the polarized, disrespectful, and often now hate-fueled climate that's in the U.S.
Every day I get questioned as to what my thoughts are on Canada becoming the 51st state of the United States of America. My kin were here before this country got started. A generation they've been here, they gave their blood, sweat, and tears so that the generations coming after them could have a better place than they had. And now, because of a bunch of inept and corrupt politicians, I got the arrogance of the U.S. president telling me that there's a fucking monetary value to my sovereignty, and I will gladly give my life defending every sacrifice, every dream, and every hope that my family had, everything that they did so that I could be here. Mind your own business, Donald. Square up your own country and leave mine alone.
Donald Trump is reportedly talking about redrawing the border with Canada. He wants Canadian land. This from today's New York Times. Trump brought up something more fundamental in his recent call with Canadian Premier Justin Trudeau. He told Mr. Trudeau that he did not believe that the treaty that demarcates the border between the two countries was valid, and that he wants to revise the boundary. He offered no further explanation. The New York Times explains that the boundary between the U.S. and Canada was established in 1908 in a treaty between the U.S. and, I believe, probably the Brits back then, because Canada was part of Great Britain at that point, one of their colonies. This is just crazy stuff, guys. What, we're going to go to war with Canada now? Seriously? And then next we're going to war with Greenland and Denmark. And then he said he's going to go to war with Gaza. And then he said he's going to take the Panama Canal, which he said in his State of the Union. How many wars is this guy planning at this point? I mean, seriously? I thought he was elected to stop the wars, but what are you going to invade Canada now? I mean, this really isn't funny stuff, guys. This is really bad. And one final point here. Canada is a member of NATO. So if we attack Canada, we're going to war against all of our NATO allies. This is a mess. The Russians are loving this, which is probably why he's doing it.
Yo, did y'all hear that? Canadians are fed up, and rightfully so. The fact that their prime minister, a former prime minister, and even everyday citizens are speaking with this level of intensity just shows how serious this is. Canada is usually known for being peaceful, friendly, and diplomatic. But they're not gonna sit back while Trump tries to throw their country into chaos. Trump's tariffs are hurting both sides. Canadians are making it clear they are going to retaliate in the ways that hurt American businesses the most. And let's not forget that Canada is one of America's biggest trading partners. The idea that you can slap them with tariffs and not expect consequences, that's just stupid. This whole Canada should be the 51st state talk is dead. It's never been realistic. And now Canadians are rejecting it harder than ever. They are proud of their independence, their healthcare system, and their overall quality of life. And then why would they want to be absorbed into a system that is currently a mess? One thing that stood out was that even Americans are ashamed of what's happening. It's not just Canadians who see how reckless this is. A lot of people in the US recognize that Trump is alienating allies and damaging America's reputation. Okay, so now Trump is talking about changing borders. That is straight up lunacy. We're not living in 1800s where you can just claim land because you feel like it. And you heard what they said. If the US actually tried to push this idea forward, it would trigger international conflict. Canada is a part of NATO, meaning an attack on them is an attack on all NATO allies. This is not just dangerous, it is incredibly dumb. This is where things get scary. That one last person was talking about how many wars Trump is trying to start. He is onto something. He went from talking about trade to now throwing around ideas of military conflict. It's reckless, dangerous, and honestly it makes America look weak and desperate. Now, this part was powerful. That one guy saying that he would rather be broke than giving into a dictator. That's the energy. Canadians are not backing down. And let's be real. This is the kind of resistance Americans should be showing too. Because if Trump can try to strong-arm Canada, what do you think he would do to his own people if he had a chance? And let's not ignore the elephant in the room. Who actually benefits from this mess? Russia and China. America's biggest geopolitical rivals. Every time Trump picks fights with allies and weakens international relationship, they gain more power. It's not a coincidence. If Trump gets re-elected and keep pushing this nonsense, U.S. Canada relations are going to be permanently damaged. Canada is already looking for another trade partners. If America isn't careful, they're going to lose one of their most loyal allies. This whole situation is another classic example of FAFO. Trump is effing around and now the US is finding out. Canada is not some weak country that's just going to roll over. They are standing up, they are hitting back economically, and they are making it clear that they will not be bullied. And honestly, good for them. This is what happens when you push people too far. So my question to you is, do you think this border nonsense is just Trump running his mouth? Or could this actually escalate into something dangerous? Let me know in the comments. And as always, if you like this breakdown, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. I will see you all in the next one.